My footwork is so good it helped me win this, an Olympic bronze medal. And on this video, I'm going to be giving you lots of tips and tricks and knowledge to help improve your footwork, because it is one of the most important things in boxing. Your feet get you into range to land shots. It gets you out of range to get out of danger. And after watching this video, you're going to know exactly what you should be working on the next time you're in the gym to get these fast feet. And I've made this video super easy for you to navigate through with the bar on the bottom here. So just go to whatever section that you want to work on and work on that. And I recommend that you email yourself this video for the next time you go to the gym to know exactly what you should be working on. And if you're new to this channel, my name's Tony Jeffries. I'm an Olympic medalist boxer, former undefeated professional, 7-time national champion, European gold medalist. And on this channel, I give you everything boxing: how to punch harder, how to punch faster, get better footwork. So make sure you subscribe and hit that bell notification for more videos like this. And right now I'm going to tell you why footwork is so important. Footwork is the most important thing in boxing. I'm sure you've heard that before, but why is footwork the most important thing in boxing? Lots of great coaches over the years have said this. I've said it a lot on this channel as well, but we never really explain it and give you a great explanation of why the feet is so important. So let's break down the feet. Why is it so important? So if you think about it, that's where everything starts. If your feet are not right, how do you expect to punch good? How do you expect to defend good? If your balance is not right, which starts in the feet, you're going to be screwed, because if you're off balance, you're not going to be able to punch fast, punch hard, and if you get punched, you're going to be falling over. So yeah, that's one of the most important things. This is your base, the base of everything. So you need to get your feet solid. And if you notice, when you're punching, you're using your feet for every punch you throw. If I'm throwing a jab, I might step forward with the front foot. If I'm throwing a cross, the back foot will rotate. If I'm throwing a hook, the front foot will rotate. So right there, every single punch that I throw is all working with the feet. Now moving on, you want a breather? What are you going to do? You're not going to stand there and get a breather, or you're going to get punched. You're going to move your feet. When you move your feet and you can breathe, you can have your hands up or hands down. This is going to get you out of danger, and as well, it's going to help you recover. Your feet also get you into range to throw punches. If you think about it, most of the fight, you're both standing out of range. The only way you can hit your opponent, or your opponent can hit you, is by stepping and getting your feet into range and then throwing them punches. And now on the reverse of that, your feet get you out of range, get you out of distance to defend. If you ever see a boxer hurt in a fight, you might hear the coaches in the corner shouting, "Get on your bike, get on your toes, move around." You can move and you can recover while you're hurt. Now, another thing that I would love to know your opinion on, because this is something that I've done that is frowned upon in boxing. When I was boxing in the Olympic qualifiers in 2007, I was fighting Christopher Downs, who was their American team captain in Chicago, a stadium full of thousands of people chanting USA, USA. This guy could really fight. But I knew going into the last round, I think I was 8 points up. So what I did, I used my feet and I ran. Yes, I moved around. He was coming at me, getting frustrated, but I used my feet and I ran. I tried not to engage with him much at all, because I knew I'm ahead. All I've got to do is survive, not get caught with anything silly, and I've won the fight and I've qualified for the Beijing Olympics. Now, my question to you is, do you agree with that? Do you think fighters should do that when they get ahead on the scorecards? Should they run, use the feet, and get out of the way to stop any danger, stop any chance of being knocked out? Or do you think that is pretty cowardly and they should always engage in the fight? I would love to know your opinion on that in the comments below. Now I'm going to show you one of my favorite methods of getting better footwork. So when I'm teaching people who are struggling with the feet, I always like to get them moving, get them on the toes, dancing like this, with the arms down, dancing, because this can feel very uncomfortable for a lot of people. But if you can move on your toes, keeping your lead leg forward, moving left foot, moving right foot, even with your hands down, what I'm doing here, I'm staying relaxed. Yes, it might not be perfect, but it's getting you into the habit of moving around and keeping on your toes. Now from there, when you get comfortable with this, I'm going to tell you to put your arms up. Now your arms are up, you're going to concentrate on good form, good technique, moving. And then from there, when you get comfortable like this, I tell them to stop the feet, throw the punches, and then move again. So You're here, moving, stop the feet, throw a combination, get back on your toes and moving. And when you get comfortable with that, moving around with the feet, planting your feet, throwing the punches, everything else will follow. I guarantee you that. Now you know why it's so important. Now let's work on some drills. This is a great beginner footwork drill. Even if you're advanced, you should definitely be working on some of this stuff. All you're going to need is some tape to put on the floor, or you can even get some chalk and draw these squares on here. This is a drill that I did on my Instagram years ago and everyone loved it. So I thought I would add it to the YouTube collection. Now I've got 9 squares on the floor here that I've put in with tape, and each square is about the size of my foot. What I'm going to do, I'm going to start at the back in the center of the squares, and I'm going to be stepping and punching. So the first drill is step and punch. So I'm step forward with my left foot. I'm going to punch with my front hand, my left hand. Now if I step right with my right foot, I'm going to step and punch with my right hand, step left, with left hand. So no matter what direction you're stepping in, you're going to throw that same hand. So if I'm stepping back with my right foot, left, right. So just getting into the habits of stepping into the squares and punching. Just doing it slowly. And now the idea of having the squares here is giving you that right distance to step. So you want to be stepping about the same distance as the length of your foot. That's like generally one step. And now another drill you can do on here is stepping, punching, and then pivoting. So I'm going to step into a square, punch, pivot. Step into a square, punch, pivot, punch, pivot, pivot that back foot around, here. Stepping and pivoting. And it's giving you a visual as well, because often when people will be shadowboxing without this here, they'll cross the feet. They'll do a pivot and they'll end up in this awkward position like that. This really helps you keep in that good boxing stance. You always want to have that line in between your feet. So I've punched, that line's in between my feet. I've pivoted, that line's in between the feet. I've punched, line in between the feet, pivoting, line in between my feet. If I pivoted too much, for example this way, and the line's not in between my feet's on the same line, I'm off balance. I can't punch, I can't rotate. So you always want to have that line in between your feet. Pivot, lines in between the feet. Very, very simple, but very, very effective. Yeah, I love that drill with the tape on the ground, moving around. Now let's move on to the next one. 3 more beginner / advanced footwork drills. I think you're going to really enjoy these ones. Okay, so moving on to the Olympic boxing drill that I used to do, training for the games. And to do that, you need 2 items. It could be gloves, it could be anything at all. And if you're going to do it on a heavy bag, you can. If not, you don't need a heavy bag, but I'm going to show you on the heavy bag. And what I want to do is I'm going to put these here, right? Shoulder width apart. This drill is great, and it really gets the heart rate going as well. And it's going to make sense. Why the hell have I got these brand new Sanable leather boxing gloves on the floor in front of my heavy bag? Well, I want to tell you this. If I'm here, right, I'm obviously out of range. I can't hit my guy. If I step in to where this glove is, now I'm in range, now I can hit him. But as well, if I'm in range and I can hit him, guess what? He can hit me as well. So this is called phase work. I'm going to show you a phase attack right here. So what I've got to do, I'm out of range. I'm going to step in with a 1-2, and then step back out. Now, the more you do this, the harder it gets, because we don't just do 1 phases, we can do 2 phases or even 3 phases. So right now, I'm going to show you a 2-phase attack. So I'm here, I'm out of range. I'm going to step in, with a 1-2. I'm defending with both feet, stepping out. Then I'm going to step back in with a 1-2 again, boom. And that right there is a 2-phase attack. Now a little bit faster, I'm going to show you in full speed. I'm getting out of range, out, That's a 2-phase attack. Now I'm going to show you a 3-phase attack. I'm going to do that 3 times. So I'm out of range, in, out, out, out. 3-phase attack right there. And you can do 4 phases, 5 phases, getting used to punching, moving in, moving out. Very advanced footwork drill that you should definitely try. Now, a big question I get asked, should I be on my toes or should I be flat-footed? Because a lot of people say, you get power from being flat-footed. You don't get power on your toes. But on this next section, I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of both. Should you be on your toes or should you be flat-footed? Well, you're about to find out. It's funny because when I turned professional after having a very successful amateur career where I was on my toes a lot, everyone told us, Tony, you need to slow it down. You need to plant your feet and throw them punches. But a lot of them people were wrong. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. First thing I'm going to break down is flat-footed. The pros and cons of being flat-footed. So the biggest pro of being flat-footed is you can generate more power in your punches. So when I'm here, I'm flat-footed, and as you can see, I'm generating a lot of power right there. As long as you're turning your hips and fully extending, exhaling, doing all the right things, you can generate so much power when you've got your feet planted here. Then also, your balance is better when you're flat-footed. Compared to being up on your toes, you're flat-footed, you can throw. My balance is really good there, throwing these longer combinations. And yes, balance is very important. Once you've got your feet planted, you can get really good balance. And kind of following on with your balance is you can work better inside when your feet is planted. So I'm inside. So now, because these feet are planted, I can work great inside. And another massive benefit of being flat-footed is you're saving more energy. If you're walking around the ring like this, you're not using much energy at all. So you can save a lot more energy. So let me tell you about the cons of being flat-footed. The first one is your punches from the outside are generally slower. Because you're flat-footed, your punches are going to be slower. And then for me, the worst thing about being flat-footed is you're relying on head movement and reactions for defense. You'll be inside, and the only way you can really defend is by you moving your head, blocking here, taking the punches here. If you're not moving your feet to defend, it's very risky because that means you're always in range to get hit. Now on your toes, the pros and cons of being on your toes. The number one is you've got better defense. If you're on your toes, you can defend better. And footwork is by far the best defense that you can do. Because if you think about it, if I'm here and someone throws a punch and I step back, I've got out the way of the punch. But if the punch is coming and it is landing and I'm stepping at the same time, it's going to take the sting out of the punch. So footwork defense is the best sort of defense you can do. So when I'm on my toes, I can be in and out, defending, always ready for that punch, coming back and getting out the way of it. Also, a big, massive pro for this is you can punch faster. Yes, you can punch faster when you're on your toes. I've done a video on how to instantly punch faster. Check that out. And one of the things that I talk about is moving in and out with your feet. When I'm moving in and out with my feet, I punch faster. And Manny Pacquiao was an absolute master at doing this. He would step, and punch at the same time, and that's how he generated so much hand speed. Another thing, it looks better. You look like a better fighter when you're here on your toes compared to here, plodding forward. This doesn't really look very good. But if you're on your toes, it looks way better. But for me, the big one is the defense, moving in and out, keeping your opponent thinking. And this is why I prefer to be on my toes compared to being flat-footed. And there is a time and a place for both. But now let's get on to the cons of being on your toes. The biggest one is it uses more energy. But what one of my old amateur boxing trainers, David Binns, who was an amazing coach, he still is an amazing coach, used to tell us was if you can box on your toes and box like that for 4 2-minute rounds, you can do it for 12 3-minute rounds. All it comes down to is conditioning. Now, if you look at someone like Muhammad Ali in his early days, he was a master at moving around on his toes. So that kind of dismisses that con about it using more energy. Even though it does, you've just got to condition yourself to be able to do it for longer. Now, another con is that your punches is not going to be as hard. But when you mix it up on your toes with planting your feet, you can still punch hard. That's why you should master both of them, being on your toes and being flat-footed. And then the other con, I guess, is balance. You might be losing your balance when you're moving around trying to throw these punches. But when you practice this, you're only going to get better at it and you're never going to lose your balance. So which one should you be practicing? So you should be practicing both, a bit of both. I would advise practicing more on your toes because it's harder to box on your toes like this than it is flat-footed. So once you master moving in and out, being on your toes, working on them fast punches, all of the pros that I said about being on your toes, then you can work on being flat-footed. But I believe so much that working on your footwork is very important. Footwork is the most important thing in boxing. Without your feet underneath you, you're going to be probably useless everywhere else. There's not many great fighters who didn't have great footwork. Now it's great working on all these footwork drills, but there's probably some mistakes that you're doing right now that you don't know about. I'm going to show you the 4 most common mistakes in boxing footwork right now. Common mistake number 1. I see so many people doing this. Even world-class fighters do this. And what it is, they'll be here in the boxing stance, their opponent will move back and they'll move forward and they'll stand on the heel toe. Heel toe, heel toe. Now, the reason why this is so bad is if I'm moving forward and I step on my heel and then he throws a punch, how am I supposed to push off my heel to move back? But if I'm on my toe, I can always move back and spring backwards and forwards. That is common mistake number 1, heel toe, heel toe. Make sure you're not doing that. Common mistake number 2 is what I see so many beginners doing, and that is having their feet on one line like this. Now, if your feet is lined up like this, your balance is kind of off. If you get punched in this position, you'll probably fall over, and as well, you can't rotate with your punches. You can't really turn your hips that well, compared to if you've got your feet apart, you've got that imaginary line in between your feet. And now here, if I throw that punch, I can really rotate. My balance is solid here as well. So common mistake number 2 is having your feet on one line. Keep them feet out, keep that line in between your feet. Common mistake number 3, I see a lot of beginners doing this, a lot of intermediate boxers doing this, and that is crossing your feet. When you move to your left, people will move their right foot first and then the left foot. So if I'm doing it fast, you might not be able to see, or if I'm moving to my right, move my left foot first. No, that there is a terrible mistake that you shouldn't be doing. Again, reason being, if I'm stepping to my left and I move my right foot first, look at that, I'm off balance. If I get punched in this position, I'm over and I can't throw anything from this position. So when you move to your left, always move your left foot first. When you move to your right, move your right foot first. That is common mistake number 3. Common mistake number 4 is a terrible mistake that I see everyone doing. Professionals, beginners, intermediates, I do it. And this mistake is kind of okay if you're out of range from an opponent. And what this mistake is bringing your feet together like this. Yeah, because if I'm in this position and I'm in range and I bring my feet together and I get punched again, I'm going to fall over, I'm off balance, I can't throw any punches from this position. But then again, if I'm out of range, I can bring my feet together if I want, like this. But then as soon as you get into range, you need to keep your feet apart. Keep your feet apart all the time. When your feet is apart and you're moving, you can always punch at the same time as you're moving. If you bring your feet together, I can't throw them punches. So keep your feet apart. Short movements. If I move 6 inches with the left, the right follows 6 inches. 6 inches with the right, the left foot follows 6 inches. You never want to do 6 inches left and 12 inches right. Brings us in that position where I'm off balance. That right there is 4 of the most common mistakes I see in boxing footwork. Footwork is not all about just moving in and out and getting out of the way of opponents or getting into range. You can also use your feet for feint and getting your opponent to do what you want him to do. And that's what this next section is all about. So, feinting with the feet, what is it? Basically, it is getting your opponent to think you're going to do one thing, but really you're going to do another thing, which will make your opponent react, and that'll make him do what you want him to do. And boxing is all about that. The best boxers is always 1 step ahead or 2 steps ahead of their opponent. Just like you see in a chess match, you always want to be 1 step ahead, 2 steps ahead of your opponent. The same with boxing. And by mastering the feint, you really be able to master that. So the first method is tricking your opponent, getting him to think that you're going to go one way and go another way. And the way I like to explain this is, if you think that you've got a shorter opponent coming at you, like a kind of little Mike Tyson coming at you trying to knock your head off, and you're moving on the back foot, you're moving on the back foot, And if he's got experience, if you move to your left, he's going to move this way and try and cut the ring down to get you on the ropes to go to work. So if you're moving to your left, what I like to do is feint to my right, get him to go that way, and then you go to your left. So again, I'm moving to my left. I'm going to pretend to him I'm going to my right. As soon as I do that, he's going to step that way, and then you're going to get away and move to your left. So a little bit faster. I'm here, he's coming forward, I'm moving to the left, feint to the right, and then go. As quick as that. And one way to master the feint is by actually doing the feint exactly how you would do the movement. So if I'm moving to my left, and I decided to move to my right, I need to have that exact same movement so he believes it. So I'm moving to my left, I'm going to step with my right foot. That's going to make him think I'm moving that way. I'm going to push off this back foot and continue going to my left. Again. Yeah, and I can do it the other way as well. So I'm moving to my right, pretend I'm going to my left and continue going to the right. That is the first method, by pretending you're going one way and go the other way. Method number 2 is as if you're going to throw a punch. If you think I'm going to throw a jab at my opponent, this is what it'll look like. Watch my feet. I'm stepping as I'm punching. If you're in with an experienced opponent, as soon as I do that, he will know that I'm going to throw that punch. But I'm not, because it's a feint. I pretend I'm going to throw that punch to get him to react. So again, I'm going to just step. I'm going to move my arm slightly. And when I'm doing this, I like to move my arm up. Watch this from this angle. If I throw a jab, now I'll feint the jab. It looks exactly the same. And you notice right there, I didn't just feint with the foot and a little bit with the arm. I actually used the sound as well. If I'm jabbing, I'm going to feint with the sound. That's going to get him to believe it. Now, if I'm in with someone who every time I jab, he parries, I know when I feint that jab, his hand's coming out, boom, I can get over the top there. So make sure that step is perfect, just like you would do if you're throwing that jab. And the third method, this is what I used to do all the time. At the start of just about all of the rounds I used to box, is I would come out, get off my stool, walk to the center of the ring, and then straight away, big feint with the feet. What that does right there, it gets in your opponent's head. It gets him thinking. I would even do it in sparring. I get up, come to the center, straight away, at the very start of the round. For that feint, that will trick him, get straight into your opponent's head, and that's what you want to do. Get in your opponent's head and keep him thinking. The good old agility ladder. This is something you should be adding to just about all of your workouts. It's a great extension of the warm-up. But you're not just warming up on the ladder, you're also working on great form and great technique. And these 25 quick drills is something that you should be working on all the time. Check this one out. Moving forward and back. Moving laterally side to side. 2 steps forward, then we're going to defend with a step back. Moving forward, stepping with your jab. Moving forward, throwing the 1-2. When your foot lands, the punch lands. So if your left foot lands, your left hand lands, your right foot lands, your right punch lands. Throw a 1-2 hook, then step left. Throw a 1-2, then side step to your right. Step forward with a 1-1-2, step back and counter with the cross. Step forward with a 1-1-2, then step back and move to your side. Continuously stepping forward with the 1-2s. As the punch lands, the foot lands. Continuously stepping back with the 1-2s. One of my favourites, closing the distance with a 1-2-1. 1-2-1. Stepping and punching. Feinting your direction you're going with the feet. Continuously throwing the 1-2 hook 2, moving forward. As you step, you punch. 1-2 hook. Freestyle shadow boxing. 1-2 hook, roll step to your left. freestyle, but this time you're going to pivot after every combination. Uppercut step, uppercut step. 1, 2, roll step, 2. Step 1, 2, slip, slip, making sure you bring your head off that center line. Now before I get into the last 5, which is the most advanced and the hardest footwork drills you can do on an agility ladder, I just want to tell you about my world's best boxing drills video package. Check out the link below where I give you 50 plus of the best boxing drills from around the world, all in one video package. Also guys, if you haven't already and you like this video, please subscribe for more videos like this. All right, let's get into these 5 advanced footwork drills. 1, 2, 1, 2, stepping forward, step back for the defense, uppercut, hook, 2. And it'll look like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, step back, uppercut, hook, 2. A little bit faster. Step with the feint for the 1, 2, then step out for the defense. So you're here, step with the feint, throw the 1, 2, and step out for defense. It'll look like this. Now this is another one of my favorite ones. It's a 1, 2, 1, going for distance, trying to cut that range down. If you're in there with a fighter that moves back, this is a great combination against them. So rather than the 1, 2, 1, we want to do bigger steps, and it'll look like this. Now see the distance I traveled. So try that as fast as you can, try to get as much distance as you can. Jab, rear hook, lead hook, stepping forward, moving at the same time as your punch. And it'll look like this. Now the last one, this is probably the hardest one. And this is changing the angle with your feet when you punch. Now if you visualize, I've got an opponent in front of me. I've hit him with a 1, 2, 1. I've changed the angle, brought my back foot round. I'm going to hit him with a body shot. Now, switch feet, changing the angle, stepping forward as you're throwing them punches. Master that one. When you're hitting the heavy bag, it's not all about just hitting the heavy bag. It's about feet as well, getting into good habits. And these few drills here are going to help you develop great footwork habits the next time you're on the heavy bag. The big thing is keeping your feet apart. One of the most common mistakes I see in the gyms is this. Bringing the feet out. And it's kind of what people do for a rest. They'll throw punches and they'll come here and they'll rest. But think about this. If I'm in a fight and I'm here, I'm off balance. I can't throw any punches. It's a terrible position to be in. Now I get it. If you're out of range, you can do what you want with your feet. But you want to be always practicing for perfection. And with that is keeping your feet apart. So I'm moving, no matter what direction I'm going in, my feet are apart. Reason being, I can throw any punches at any time when my feet are apart. So I'm here, I can punch. Now another thing is when you're moving to your left, always move your left foot first. Because I see when people will be moving, they'll cross their feet and they'll be like this. Again, look at this position. Terrible position to be in. We always want to keep them feet apart. When you're moving to your left, left foot first, moving to your right, right foot first. And this, again, will put you in the position to throw the punches. Because if you move to your right and you move your left foot first, I'm in a terrible position here. Now, the last thing that I really want to go into with footwork is you're either doing one or two things. You're either moving, planting your feet, then punching, which is great to get power in the punches. So I'm moving, plant my feet, bah, 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 bah. Or the other thing is stepping and punching at the same time. So what I mean by that is if I step to my left, I can throw the left hand. If I step to the right, I can throw the right hand. Now, the punch and the foot wants to really land at the same time. So if I want to throw 1, 2, I'm out of range, I want to step in with, bah, 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 bah. The punches and the hands are landing at the same time. So again, I'm out of range, I'm going to step in with a 1, 2, bah, bah. Now as you've seen there, loads of power in the bag because the momentum of the movement is increasing the power, and I'm stepping and I'm punching. Them is the things you want to think of. Keeping your feet apart. Moving left foot first, moving right foot first. When you are stepping, that's when you can punch, or step, plant your feet, then throw the punches. And these little tips here will really help you improve this footwork. A lot of them previous drills you do need equipment for, like a heavy bag or like the agility ladder. These next two drills you don't need any equipment for, and they are fantastic. What I'm going to do, I'm going to draw a circle here and then measure just a little bit bigger than my foot, another circle here, coming around that one. So there, we've done the circle. Now it doesn't have to be perfect, as you can see here. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to step this way. I'm going to measure the size of my foot, just a little bit bigger. And we're going to do lines there and go the same thing all the way around there. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Now this feels like I'm back at school doing this sort of stuff, but this is a great drill, I promise you that. So now it's time for the method behind the madness of drawing this. If you think that my opponent is standing here, if I'm here, I'm out of range. He can't hit me, but I can't hit him. And with this, I'm going to give you two different types of footwork drills that you can do. So again, here, number one, I'm out of range. All I'm going to do, I'm going to step in, throw the combo, step out. It's like a phase attack. I'm here, step in, out. Then I can move around, out, move around, moving all the way around. Now what this is doing, this is improving me moving forwards and backwards, but as well, laterally. Common mistake we see fighters do, they'll throw the punches, then they'll not move out before the step to the side. Now if I'm in range and I step to the side, I'm wide open for the hooks no matter which way I go. You want to step in, throw the punches, step out, then step to the side, whichever side it may be. So again, a little bit faster. Step out, step around. That's number one. The second drill that you can do with this is finding the range. If I'm fighting someone and I do step in and throw the combination, chances are they're either going to block or they're going to step back. If they step back, I've got to go forward again. And that's what we're going to do here. We're going to go forward. And the combination that we're going to throw is one of my favorite combinations to cut the ring down. And it's a 1-2-1. So with this, I've got to visualize if I throw the punches, he's going to move back. So if I throw the 1-2 and step in, he's moved back. Now I'm going to put my front foot into the position where he's just been in the center there and throw the last one. So it's going to be a 1-2-1. So I'm going to be here, 1-2-1. Then I can come out and move around again. And come out, then around. If you notice, each time I'm punching, I'm stepping. Step, step, step. And with this combo, the power is really in the last punch because you've done the 1-2. Now you're going to step with this front foot and really get the power and the momentum of your weight behind it. Bah! One. Bah, bah, bah. One. Come out, around. Bah, bah, bah. Bah, bah, bah. Another thing you can do if you've got someone there watching you and helping you or coaching you, or if you're a coach and you're training your client or a boxer, you can have them here, waiting, moving, fainting, waiting for you to say go, and as soon as you say go, bah, 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 then come out, move around. I'm here, waiting for the coach to say go, bah, 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 then come out and move around. There it is. That is a fantastic drill that you should be doing to improve your footwork and to improve your boxing. Like I said at the beginning, you don't need any equipment. All you need is a piece of chalk or a stone or some tape or even some cones. Anything you can. There's no excuses not to do this. Now we're saving the best till last, the Olympic footwork drill. This is the best drill I can recommend anyone to do ever. I absolutely love this drill. We did it all the time training for the Olympics. I'm going to show you it right now. But before I do show you it, I want to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, which is Onnit. Onnit is a supplement company that I swear by. There's so much BS out there. If you're looking for supplements to help for your post-workout, pre-workout, go to Onnit. This is legit. And if you go to onnit.com/boxing, they're going to give you 10% off their entire website. So if you're looking for a supplement to help with your training, to help get better footwork, go to onnit.com/boxing and get 10% off their entire website. Now let's get on with the best footwork drill that you can possibly ever do. And what we did, we had our hands down in front of each other, and the goal was to tag your partner on your shoulder. And the reason why you've got your hands down is because the only way you can defend these punches or touches is by doing that, by either slipping or by moving your feet. And again, we're not trying to punch each other hard in the shoulders, we're trying to touch because we're playing. So we're here on our feet, moving around, and there I've already scored one. Oh, he scored 2. And now look at Jim smiling. See, he's smiling because he's having fun, because it's a fun little tag game. Oh, now you might be thinking, well, that's not boxing. Well, it's boxing. It's part of boxing. It's boxing footwork. We are trying to hit the other person fast with our hands. We are working on our reactions to try and get out the way of these hits. So, yes, it's not boxing where you're punching each other in the face, but it is a great boxing drill. Give that one a try. It's so many benefits. If you enjoyed this video and you want to learn some boxing, click here for my ultimate guide to boxing, where I take you through everything step by step. Make sure you click here right now.